You are now listening to Vibe Selection with Kyra, where you can get the real on today's hot topics.
Well, welcome everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Vibe Selection. I am your host, Kyra, and on today's episode, I wanted to take the time out to address all my potential content creators, all my creatives out there, whether you're someone that does comedy sketches, whether you're an actor, whether you're someone that wants to be in the broadcast media, whether you're someone that has a passion for making films, whether you want to be on TV, whatever it is that you desire in life, I wanted to take this time out to encourage you all to create your own platforms. You know, during this pandemic, a lot of people have been taken out of work and can't work, and there hasn't been much opportunity for people to get out there and be able to do what it is that they have a passion for. But I wanted to also make it known that even during these challenging times that we can't rely on other people to pave the way for us, that it is so important for us to pave the way for ourselves. We think about there's so many people that want to be in media industry, the media entertainment, the film industry, but there's only so many spots that are open for people to be able to have those particular opportunities. And I think for a lot of people, they need to realize that, especially in times like this where there's a lot of people that are out of work, it's important to be able to have things that are your own and create your own path. Because with there only being about 5 major film studios out there, I know, of course, you have Paramount, you got Universal, you have Warner Brothers, you have, 21st Century. There's only so many limited amount of job availabilities within each of these studios. And so there's an even greater pecking order for people to be able to get their foot through that door. So with there only being 5 major film studios and about, let's just say hypothetically, 100 job positions open in each studio, when you got hundreds of thousands of people who want to be within the film industry or the news broadcasting industry, or a content creator that wants to get on Instagram and be the next it person, or that go on YouTube and be the next influencer, people have to realize that you can't wait on people like Universal to give you a job. You can't wait for people like MSNBC to give you a job, CNN to give you a job, Fox News to give you a job, Cron 4 News to give you a job. You got to go out there and create your own path in your own lane. You have to create your own destiny. And with this conversation is that it's so vital for people to understand that you're worth so much more than someone telling you and dictating to you what you should be saying, because you got to think about it. And that when you become someone that's on the broadcasting media news, you're not someone that usually writes your own script if you work for the major ones. If you work for the major stations like MSNBC or NBC, or if you work for CNN, typically when you're in news broadcasting, you usually write all of your scripts. But most of these studios and broadcast stations, you have to go through a union. You have to make sure that the scripts that you're writing out are being processed and looked over by the director, the producer, has to go through the lawyers. Like, there's this whole channels that you have to go through before the script can actually come out. So when you're talking about things a lot of times that you don't even have any control over, why not create your own lane to talk about things that you have a passion for to talk about? Even when you go to school, think about how there's so many people out here that are in debt. Everybody constantly tells you, go to school. You want to become somebody? Go to school, go to college, get your education. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't go to college and get their education. Absolutely, 100%. I encourage everybody to get out there and go get an education and learn their skills for the craft that they have the desire to be in. I know for me personally, it was broadcast media. But the constant roadblock that I was coming in, coming to head with, along with so many other people, is that even when you go to college and you learn all the skill set for whatever career that you're trying to get in, half the time you can't even get a job. So just think about it. You spend 4 years in college learning the skills, all the techniques, everything that you need to learn in order to build yourself for success when you graduate, in order to get in the career that you want to be in. But yet, when you graduate, you often have someone telling you that you don't have enough skill set, or you don't have, any of the experience that it takes in order for you to be in that field for them to give you that job. You can't even get an internship half of the time. So how is it that you're someone that goes to college, spends 4 years in college for someone to tell you that? Now, I know in my particular case, I've been in college for some time now. I'm going on my 4th year, and I'm in close to $60,000 worth of debt. And I was coming into the roadblock of putting my resumes in so that I could be able to get internships. And I had the door constantly shut on me. And, I started to realize, okay, so there's so many people that want to be in my position, but I know the reality of the situation is that I probably won't ever get a job. So I put my application into a bunch of news stations, hoping that I would potentially land an internship, to no avail. And that is just largely because there's so many people that are trying to apply for these positions, so many people coming straight out of college or actually already have the experiences that are in the particular field. And a lot of these people aren't leaving their positions because they know it's so hard to land one. So I took an internship class while I was going to San Francisco State. And one of the things that I learned from speaking to HR directors from Paramount, Disney, Warner Brothers, is that your chances of getting in this business is strictly luck based. Persistence is key in this business. And the more persistent you are, the more luck that you'll have in potentially landing an internship. So a lot of the times, a lot of the people in the class would ask, okay, well, how do I get my foot through the door? I mean, I'm going to school trying to attain the information that I need in order to land a job when I graduate. So what is the key to, getting an internship or landing a job once you graduate from college? And so many people told me that the key to landing an internship is if you work in customer service, if you're a waiter, if you work at a fast food joint, it doesn't really matter. You're learning the skills that you need to be able to work amongst other people. So customer service skills was one of them. And the second one was just luck. Certain things that they look for on an application is if you have too many writing errors. Even if you have a lowercase I when you're supposed to have it a capital case I, they'll exclude you from the process because they're dealing with so many people and they have such a high volume of people bringing in their applications that something as small as a misspelled letter or your application doesn't look good or there's some error, whatever it may be, they're going to dock you based on that. So that's something for a lot of people to, keep in mind when you're doing this process. What I want a lot of people to understand is that during this pandemic, for all the creatives out there, for all the people that are looking to be in news media or the broadcasting industry, or whether you want to be in film, that right now is a perfect opportunity for you to set your own path to get your foot through the door, not waiting on Warner Brothers or CNN, like I said, to give you that opportunity because there's been so much job loss during this whole pandemic. A lot of people are on unemployment right now and are barely making it. And a lot of these companies are having to downsize because they don't have enough resources to be able to attain, the amount of people that they once were able to. And so people have to think about the fact that they are going to have to possibly be entrepreneurs. I know for a lot of people, the word entrepreneur is a very scary idea to think about the fact that you have to fund your own way and coming up with the ideas and the creativity to pave your own way. But it's solely about the courage that you have within yourself to be able to continue on and build your own path. And that, especially like I said, during this pandemic, there's a lot of job loss and there's a lot of companies that are downsizing. So if you have a support system that can back you up or help you during these challenging times financially, then you'll be able to get your foot through the door and be able to find your own path to being the creative that you want to be and writing about the things that you wanting to write about and coming up with the type of films that you want to come up with. You know, I always say that the biggest part of being an entrepreneur is energy that you have. You know, when we think about entrepreneur, it's a lot of sleepless nights. It's a lot of funding your own ways. And, you know, for a lot of people, that's a very scary thing. But you know, we think about film directors such as Spike Lee, who's a perfect example of that. He created his own way. He didn't wait for the studios to give him a handout in order to make his films. He funded his films on his own. He used his credit card to be able to fund his films. And he's been very successful. And you just have to think about, you know, don't be scared. You know, it's just about if you have a goal, you have a plan, you have the content that you want to talk about, and, you know, maybe you don't have the finances. A lot of people don't have the finances right now. But if you could drive for Lyft or work for Postmates and places like that to be able to have a little side money to fund whatever it is that you need to in order to get to that next goal in life, go out there and do it. But I can't stress enough the idea of having courage. The courage to go out of there and pave your own way to the top. Make your own path. And in doing that, you'll feel more fulfilled in yourself. You know, the reality is that not everybody is going to make it to the top. There are going to be people that are going to become big stars, and then there are people that are going to be lesser known stars, that are going to be stars in their own respects. And that's okay too. You know, and I'm sure there's people that are comfortable with that idea, that are okay with being behind the scenes and not all in front of the camera or whatnot. But for those that want to be in front of the camera or in the news broadcasting industry, go out there and get your own. Create your own podcast. You know, create your own YouTube channel where you can talk about the things that you have a passion for and the information that you want to give to the people. I had a lot of people telling me that why would you want to get a podcast? Everybody's doing podcasts nowadays. Well, you have to wonder why people are doing podcasts nowadays. They're doing podcasts nowadays because the broadcasting industry has lost a lot of its integrity. People no longer trust the news anymore. People no longer even know what's real when it comes to news, especially because it's not really written by most broadcasters anymore to those that are working for, stations where everything has to go through the union. So people want to talk about real life stuff, what's really going on in the world. People want to talk about issues regarding mental health, with careers, with, how to make it in life, all types of stuff that people have a passion for talking about. And podcasting is a perfect way for people to express that. You can be your own boss. You can monetize your own channels. You can place the ads that you want to place onto your podcasting site or your YouTube channel in order to make some income for yourself instead of having to work for, a news media source or work for a big name company where they get most of the profits. You get all the profits for yourself. And in the sense, you're happy. You should be happier with doing that, where you don't have to worry about being fired from a job. You can't ever get fired from the job. You're the boss. You're funding it. You're making all the money for yourself. But it's just not about money. It's also about happiness. And in the end, you'll be happy because you are doing what it is that you truly have a passion for. And that is the greatest thing you could be doing for yourself. So I encourage everybody to get out there, put your best foot forward and make things happen for yourself. Don't allow anybody else to deter you or detract you from the fact that you have a goal and career in mind and you want to excel in life and And ultimately, if you're persistent and consistent enough, doors will open up for you where the path will be much easier for you. So start creating a plan now. Set a goal for yourself and execute it. Now is the perfect time. We have so much time on our hands with this pandemic. We can't be so worried about the fact that we're stuck at home. This is a perfect time for you to be able to do what it is that you aspire to do in life. And don't wait for others to hand you the ticket to success. You are your ultimate ticket to success. But with that in mind, I want to thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Vibe Selection. I am your host, Kyra, and tune in for next week's episode. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram at I am Kyra Mahoney, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And also, if you like any merchandise, you can go to www.teespring.com/vibeselection.
Thank you for joining Vibe Selection with Kyra. Come vibe out with us again next time and hear the latest on today's hot topics. Find us on Instagram at I am Kyra Mahoney or donate at www.patreon.com/vibeselection.